Rah! Hello, darlings. Don't forget to like this video. Toodle pip. Okay, hi guys, and welcome to the show. Today I'm going to attempt to keep it short and sweet, possibly even a Gentry in a Jiffy episode. We'll see. I'm not going to do wristwatch check. You've probably noticed it already. No, it's not a Royal Oak offshore. I wish it was, but it's actually one of the most popular G-Shocks right now, and I thought I'd do another modding video. The last one, you guys seem to really enjoy it, so I thought, why not take this and see if I can transform it to something like one of my favorite watches from Audemars Piguet. So without further ado, let's change perspectives and take it to the lightbox. The GA2100 was introduced in 2019 and was something of a revolutionary new step in the evolution of the massively horologically important G-Shock. This is because it was reduced in size. The GA2100 still has the traditional 10-layer G-Shock case construction that includes the inner protective bumper around the electronic module, but this time the bumper is made of carbon composite, which Casio has named the carbon core guard, which is a dark kind of marbled grey and distinct from the black resin outer case we typically see, or we're used to seeing. And you'll see this shortly as we begin to mod it. But it's important to note that it has become an undisputed hit, not only among watch enthusiasts, but also in the Gentry as well. I myself was a little late to it, as I didn't want to go over what has already been covered to death by the so-called watch press. However, when I found out about this AP Royal Oak mod, how could I resist not giving it a go myself? It's no secret the allure of the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak has a strong effect on me. I even owned a quartz Zen dial no date for about a year, which I flipped for a handsome profit. I still miss it terribly, and I always thought, well, I'll go automatic eventually. But in today's uncertain world, for me, spending so much money on a luxury watch is, to be honest, a little bit distasteful and not really necessary right now. As I've said in my previous video, priorities have inevitably changed, and I'm sure that's the same for a lot of us. Now, in my review of the AP Royal Oak, I demonstrated how it changed the world by becoming the first steel luxury sports watch with its distinctive futuristic brutalist style designed by the legendary Gerald Gentry, and this was first introduced to the market in 1972. So the parallels in its style were already there, but aside from the carbon core, the octagonal angular shape and choice of ani-digi over purely digital is very deliberate. G-Shock have been implementing analog into their digital watches ever since 1989, with the AW501E being the first model to do so. The first fully analog watch was the MRG-120 from 1997, which was a solid steel affair and very round looking, with an integrated bracelet reminiscent of the modern IWC Engineer. In many ways, the analog style G-Shocks are closer to Kiko Aibei's original vision for a tough watch that could resist shocks. If you remember from my previous videos discussing the history of this iconic line from Casio, it was inspired by him dropping his father's watch. And in a similar fashion, he had a Newton-style spark of genius, and this initial idea set in motion the revolution in the early 80s that would eventually become G-Shock. Analog G-Shocks have also become among the most successful of their watches, and really took off in the early 2000s and the last decade. The Gravity Master is a prime example, being the choice of many military and professional pilots, approved by NASA, and even being blasted into space. So the legacy and achievements is undoubtedly there, even if the GA2100 only features a basic non-solar powered module. Now, it's worthy to note at the time of recording this a second generation with a very, very faithful, more angular style of bracelet and case was introduced to the market. Now these parts are all third party. However, I went with generation 1, and it's worthy to note that you can buy them on AliExpress as well, although the quality is slightly different, and I think the larger screws on the bezel are not quite as faithful to the AP and look a little bit clumsy. I sourced my parts on eBay, and do bear in mind it takes a while to arrive from China. Now I went for the steel version and also the gold tone kit, which includes an actual bracelet. Not too keen on the bracelet, but the full kit does include the tools necessary. Both came with extra parts, which will be very useful later. Between the two of them, the quality was quite good, and at first glance you can't really discern any difference between the level of quality and finishing on, let's say, the metal G-Shock I reviewed and owned a while ago. So the first thing you want to do is you want to remove the outer part of the case by unscrewing these tiny little screws, and be careful not to lose them. Then using a spring bar tool, you just almost crowbar it off. It's a bit tricky around the buttons, and it pops off, and then you see the carbon core I was talking about earlier. I was unsure of which way to go. There is a black PVD version as well, but I stupidly forgot that the buttons, of course, are steel, so the two-tone look just didn't really appeal to me. Not to mention, I don't think that the yellow gold works with the white markers, although I did want yellow gold to match my jewelry, my wedding ring, signet ring, etc. So I decided to go with the steel, and I'm kind of glad I did. Now, the steel one did come with an extra assigned G-Shock loop. To install this, you simply remove the buckle and slide it in, and Bob's your uncle, there you go. With the rubber strap, it's very sporty indeed, and the weight, interestingly, is about 80 grams compared to my G-Shock Swear, the famous watch I use every day for working out, which is about 57. But I decided to go one step further. As the mixture of contrasting directional brushing and high polish gives it a little bit more of an elegant flair, I wanted to install a strap. So simply remove the rubber strap, and Casio have included the bolt action quick release system, which I think is very, very cool indeed. Now I decided to find the cheapest strap possible, because at the end of the day, if this doesn't work, I don't want to make alterations and cut into a $50 luxury strap like a collar web, for example. What you need to do is you need to get the 24mm size, and that will fit this particular G-Shock. Then you use the rubber strap as a template. You get a razor or knife or something like that and make some little markings, and this is just to indicate where you're going to cut. Push out the spring bar and then cut away, not too far. You don't want to cut into the stitching, and then the strap will come apart and unravel. Then you get the spare spring bars from earlier, and with some pliers just snap off the little handle there, thread it through and reattach the straps, and boom, there you go. The Kippers knickers, look at that. Now, as I have not reviewed officially the GA2100, I will share my thoughts on it. Now, I try to distance myself from online watch content very deliberately in order to stay objective, so this was a whole new experience for me. But I can see why so many add this affordable new G-Shock to their collection, even those who tend to collect only higher end pieces. Its thinness makes it extremely comfortable, even on a petite 6.5-inch wrist like mine. Just to give you an idea of its scale, the average Speedmaster Moonwatch is 13mm, Rolex Daytona is about 12.2. This is 11.8. Part of it is also down to the steel screw-in case back being flush with the case. However, the diameter is 45.4, but it does feel substantially smaller. As for the features and complications, this is more of a modding video rather than a straight review. I will share it on screen, but suffice to say it has all your typical trappings and handy complications you expect, making it a perfect beater and do-it-all watch. I especially appreciate the day indicator on the dial, which is very practical if you're working from home a lot. I find myself often forgetting what day of the week it is. Now, while it does not have the tapisserie textured dial of the AP, the three-dimensional shapes are captivating. The use of layering of the surfaces and harsh angular geometric edges gives it a very strong brutalist vibe. If the great Denys Lasden was to design a watch, this would unquestionably be it, and I absolutely adore it. The flaws of this watch are the same as ever and remain unchanged, unfortunately. The digital display is often annoyingly obscured by the broad sword hands, and the lume orientation is extremely weak, being only applied to the hands, although the afterglow backlight of the digital display is great. I wish the little LED for the main dial was all around the dial, not just at the 4:30 position. I also wish it had superluminova on those splendid markers there. That would be absolutely awesome. And I really do hope G-Shock make a mini version. While the larger size is pretty much the same as your typical G-Shock Square, it doesn't give you a traditional Royal Oak feeling. It's definitely more offshore territory. But knowing the price tag was so low, I mean, I spent $200 on the watch, $14 for the strap, and I think about $60 for the bezel. Just comes out to a little bit over $250. It's an absolute joy to wear, so the fun factor is extremely high. Also, you don't have to worry about servicing it. It's a basic quartz, so replace the battery every 3 years. And at the end of the day, you never have to worry about the astronomical costs of servicing a haute horology movement. The steel upgrade makes it smarter somehow, and I do think it's a little bit more rather versatile. Ironically cuff-friendly, which is something I'd never expect to say about a G-Shock. In conclusion, I love the retro design. It will keep me from lusting an AP for a very long time. There are more colors and combinations to choose from, the more exuberant being among the most affordable right now on eBay. So you could put something together for even less money than I did. It feels much less like a toy now, and the added heft and metallic look transforms it from purely form and function into something, dare I say, even elegant, without being too blingy. So what can I say? Without a shadow of a doubt, the best affordable Royal Oak alternative on the market. So what do you think? Not bad, huh? For a smidgen over $250, I'm over the moon. So yeah. There you go. Let me know your thoughts, queries, comments, opinions, all the rest of it down below. Please don't forget to check out the new merchandise on the official Urban Gentry store. It's now open. What else? There's the Instagram, there's the Facebook, there's so many things. Don't forget to hit the bell icon so you're notified. Oh, and most importantly, don't forget to like this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Okay, ciao.